Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Online Warriors podcast, the last episode of March. In like a lion, out like a lamb. Your goal for the day will be determining which of us is the lion and which of us is the lamb. I'm Illeagle 86. I have Techtic here with me. I have Nerdbomber here with me. One of us is a lion and one of us is a lamb. That's what that means, right? Mission accomplished.
You know, in the wild, are lions and lambs even anywhere near each other?
I would hope not.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure geographically it's not a thing that ever occurs.
So March comes in like a lion because like the weather's still bad, right? Is that what that means?
Yeah.
I assume. And then it comes out like a lamb because it's soft and fuzzy.
Yeah. Hey, all I know
that's
is
the
next
case.
month we get to look forward to April showers.
Do you have any big April Fool's Day plans?
No, I don't subscribe.
But I'll never tell.
You don't do any fooling? Yeah, that was a test, first of all. If you were about to tell me your pranks, then you're not a good prankster. I have no April Fool's Day plans, which probably means that I do, right? That's how these things go. My main goal every April Fool's Day now, I think I've talked about this on the show before, is to not be fooled by like the Google. You know, Google goes hard on April Fool's Day. It's like a big deal for them. You can tell like they probably have like company-wide email blasts about it. Like, we're putting out this stupid thing. People are going to believe it like idiots. And I'm one of those idiots. I've been one of those idiots like 2 years. I've been like, oh my gosh, this is real. There's something, I can't remember, it's like a TV show or something, or a movie. I think we might have talked about it on the show. I can't think of what it is now. It's set to release on April 1st. And I was in my mind thinking, does that mean it's not really happening? I think it was the Judd Apatow movie where they're all quarantined. Can't think of the name of it.
That's
we
right.
talked about it on the show.
I honestly
comes out April 1st.
I would love for that to come out, and then like the first 15-20 minutes they get you really invested, and then at like minute 20 it just turns into Judd Apatow like doing a dance, and then it's like April Fool's.
It would be great. Everybody will be talking about it. I mean, that looks like, I remember I felt that way about, this is an offshoot, but I remember when it was 2010, I was either still in high school at that point or I was in college. I can't remember. I think I just finished high school and I went to see Toy Story 3 with my family. And if you haven't seen Toy Story 3, there's a part where you think that all the toys are going to die. And I remember thinking to myself, how cool would that be? Like,
what?
By that, what
That's
I mean
what you
is,
thought to
what
yourself?
I mean by
It was at that
I'm not a
moment
psycho.
that we knew that Illeagle was insane.
No, it's more just the idea of like, okay, Disney's going to do this thing where they get all these kids and high school kids like me excited to see this movie, to see their favorite characters do these things. And then they all drag them into theaters. They go to like drive-in movies. It's just summertime. Everyone's having a good time. And then they kill all of the characters in front of the children. I was like, I would be talking about that for the rest of my life. It would be a defining moment for me. Like, I think it'd be great if a movie just one time just did something like that, where they were like, we're going to subvert expectations so hard that it's just going to shatter you.
You know what they should do? They should advertise like a PG movie or maybe even a G movie and like really hype it up, make everyone want to go see it in theaters, and then play a rated R film.
Yeah, something like, well, that might be a little far.
Like Saw.
I think keep it rated, keep it like rated within the MPAA rating, but like do something crazy with it, you know? That's what I'm wanting to see, but...
Or actually, no, vice versa would be a way better way. Really hype up like the scary movie of the century, and then have them sit in to watch My Little Pony. Please do that, movie studios.
Because again, if I was in that theater, I'd be like, they got me. Like I'd be like, respect. You tricked me. I might be a little mad. I don't know. It depends. I guess it would depend on how I was feeling that day. We got a great show for you guys lined up today. We're going to be talking a little bit about James Bond. We talked about James Bond a little bit last week, but there's some more exciting news this week that I'm actually particularly interested in talking about, being a reality television fan myself. We're going to be talking about space tourism because, you know, as you all know, here at the Online Warriors podcast, we have the disposable income to go to space. We'll talk about how much a ticket to space costs. And we're also going to be talking a little bit about the gaming world, as we often do. Microsoft has announced a new cloud gaming publishing division. We'll get to more on that later. I do want to start with James Bond, though, because this is a really cool idea. So as we know, as we discussed last week, actually, Amazon bought MGM, which means they bought James Bond. James Bond, of course, you know, it's that franchise, you know, where the movies come out I don't know, every like 3 or 4 years. I feel like it maybe even more than that. But there's not really a consistently churning machine there, and you better believe Amazon is trying to make one. They have announced and greenlit the first James Bond television show called 007's Road to a Million. This is described as a Bond-style spin on a race around the world. It's a reality show competition. Honestly, sounds like it's basically Amazing Race, which I don't know if you guys have ever watched that show, but it's a great show. It's still on. My parents are big Amazing Race fans, actually, so I know it's still on. In spite of the fact that it sounds very similar to The Amazing Race, I think this is actually a really cool idea. How many people have pretended to be James Bond?
Everybody.
You can't see me, but I'm raising my hand, not even tentatively, just straight up, shot straight up.
Well, we were the generation that had the spy gear, like all of those. Yeah. We've talked about this on the show.
Why was spy gear so big in like the 90s and 2000s?
Espionage was a big deal. Like I took it a little far. Let me say that. I don't know if I've ever publicly announced on the show. I owned, as like a 9-year-old child, I owned a periscope.
Where did you use that?
Just around the house.
I'm going to take it one step further. I developed my own spy gear as a kid by taking apart like walkie-talkies and things and making them into like other objects that were more discreet.
Well, did you guys ever make the periscope out of like, this was like craft, I feel like, that they made us
toilet paper?
Like a couple mirrors?
It was a couple mirrors and then like orange juice cartons. Like, do you remember like the cardboard orange juice cartons before?
We used paper towel rolls, not toilet paper. We used paper towel.
But then how would you get the mirrors lined up?
Just shove it in.
You can't make a periscope.
It sticks out of the corners. I'm telling you.
I call BS. I call BS on the toilet paper roll. I remember the orange carton one, orange juice carton one.
If you could dream it, you could do it.
That's true. I mean, all a periscope really is mirrors, right? So you could probably pretty easily make your own. But no, my parents at some point decided, all right, we got to get this stupid kid a periscope. He won't shut up about it. So they got me a periscope. And I would I'm sure my mom would be like talking on the phone to like one of her friends, and she would see this little top of a periscope like pop up over the couch, just watching her talk on the phone or like watch TV or whatever she was doing. And she probably thought, why did I do this? Like, why did I get my child a periscope?
No, she didn't think that. She was like probably like on the phone talking to her friend, be like, my kid is a loser. I don't know what to do with him.
Just a total dork. I mean, I had motion detectors.
Yo, the motion detectors were legit though. You put those, it was like the break the beam style
sensitive
thing. They were very sensitive and kind of started my addiction to having like motion sensitive cameras. Like, I gotta tell you, when my Ring doorbell goes off throughout the day, whether it's just like a bird who flies in front of it, the first thing I do, I'm like, oh, I gotta see who's there. And I'm sure that whole obsession started with those little motion detector things.
See, you guys are rookies. I had, as I said, hidden walkie-talkies in my apparel. I had flashbangs that I made from the little rocket engines, the little Estes rockets. I took the gunpowder out and made them into little flashbangs.
Well, see, that just sounds dangerous, though.
Yeah, you just went full on danger. I had my friend had the big satellite dish looking thing where you could like listen to people that were far away. Oh, it was the coolest. Oh my gosh. It was so dumb too. Again, we like listen to conversations of like my parents talking about like taxes, and we were like, "This is juicy." Like it was ridiculous, but we did it, and that's the
see that again emotion. Is rookie stuff because that thing this big clonker, whereas I was planting bugs. So I'm just saying, you guys got to up your game.
I'll own that. We weren't very clandestine in our spying efforts, but I'll tell you what, we had style. We definitely had style.
By the way, the way that I made bugs as a little kid was, you know how you had the walkie-talkies and there was like a set of 4 and they all had different channels? You had the bugs on one channel and they were always transmitting because you couldn't talk to them because they're always transmitting. So you go to that channel if you want to listen. If you wanted to transmit to your other team member, you used to go on the Team Talk channel. It's super simple.
You should make a tech tip, just like making bugs. You'd probably get flagged on YouTube for that or something.
I was a crazy kid, I tell you.
Look into it. Yeah, that's like that's what this show is trying to evoke, right? It's supposed to be people going around, sounds like has a quote-unquote cinematic format, testing intelligence and endurance. There is definite concern. So I have 2 concerns. One is that it sounds a lot like Amazing Race, and the other one, kind of a macro concern, kind of beyond this show and more like a reality show concern. At what point, due to like inflation and like, I don't know, the economy, do we decide as a world that a $1 million prize, or in this case, a £1 million prize, isn't like salacious enough? Because I think we're close to it. Am I wrong about that?
I mean, it depends what kind of dangerous stuff they're doing. Like, I imagine they're probably having these people sign a waiver, but I'm thinking like any of these like Amazing Race style things, you put yourself in harm's way and you take some risks because you got to risk it to get the biscuit.
I'm pretty sure they get some kind of wage on top of that prize, like just for being on the show as well. So in my opinion, it's still positive.
I know like Survivor, I think if you get on the show, you make money no matter what. And like basically if you get voted off first, you get like, I don't know, 15 grand or something. And then it kind of goes up as you make it further and further until the winner gets $1 million. Like I think the winner, the second place finisher in Survivor gets $100,000, I believe. I'm not positive. But it just, it seems like at some point we're going to have to like as a society be like, okay, 1 million, you could kind of like, the idea I think has always been, oh man, if you win the $1 million on Survivor or Amazing Race or whatever, you're set for life, man. And guess what? I don't think that's true anymore. So like, that's like a concern that's beyond actually what this show is about. But that's something I thought about when I was reading this.
Right now they're taking applicants, but don't be too disappointed about it, Illeagle, because you can't apply anyway. If you read the terms and conditions, you have to be a UK resident.
Well, I mean that just makes sense though. You can't be James Bond.
Why can't there be an American James Bond? I get the whole thing. I get it.
Well,
I get
there
it. It's
is.
not the right agency.
There is.
It's not. I get it. But
yeah, there already is. His name is Ethan Hunt, and he works for the IMF. Shout out to Tom Cruise. He's probably yelling at someone on a film set somewhere right now. So shout out to him. Yeah, my other main question, I guess, is do you think D. Craigs is hosting this bad boy? Who are they going to get to host this? I mean, Amazing Race has Phil Keegan. I think his name's Phil Keegan or Phil Kagan or something. And he stands on that mat and like doesn't really do a whole lot.
We all know who it's going to be hosted by. We all know.
We do? Who is it?
Yeah, go tell us who it is first.
Broccoli. Barbara Broccoli.
I don't know. I feel like Barbara Broccoli is probably like a very old woman. I actually don't know. I'll Google it quick, but I guess that could be interesting. But like, I think the person who hosts this should be kind of like Phil from Amazing Race. They have to look like at the drop of a hat, they could go travel the world and like do fine, And so Barbara Broccoli is not old. She's 61. But I'm not getting a world traveler vibe.
I agree, though, that it has to be
from Barb Broccoli.
An ex-James Bond would be the perfect selection.
I know exactly who it has to be. Judi Dench. Come on, guys.
Daniel Radcliffe.
No, Judi Dench.
Oh, that's okay. No, that's really smart.
Actually, yeah,
that's
really
like smart.
That too.
Judi Dench is definitely a good call.
Because she could act as like their
pretty cool if,
throughout the competition.
Yeah, that's spot on. I'm with you.
I was going to say, but she's M. I was going to say you could actually get the guy who plays Cute. Ben Whishaw, I think his name is. He's young.
Yeah, she meant to say M. I'm 99% sure you meant to say M.
Yeah, whatever. I'll be the first to admit. I just knew she was the Q person. The letter. I knew she was the letter.
Yeah, she's M. She's M.
I am not a 007 fanatic. There. I laid it out all on the line.
You got to watch. First of all, that's okay.
I mean, I've seen some of them. I've seen like Skyfall. I think that might
Royale
be the only one I've seen. I may only have seen Skyfall. Oops.
Skyfall's really good. Casino Royale's really good. I'm not enough of a fan of it. I haven't gone back and watched like GoldenEye or like the Pierce Brosnans or anything. It'd be great if Pierce Brosnan hosted it. I think he'd be a great host for this show. In any case, we don't know who's hosting it yet, but we'll probably find out soon. More details will be rolled out about this. No release date yet.
Before we move on, I have to ask you both.
Yeah.
Imagine, because I would never try out for this, but I could see both of you wanting to try out for this. Give me your one-line pitch for yourself.
Wants to be James Bond, but doesn't really have the skill set. It's not a very good pitch. Let me think about it a little harder. That would be like, they'd be like, why would we have you on? Techtic, you say something.
I just did. My pitch was I looked Nerdbomber straight in the eyes and just gave that bedroom eye look. That was it. Didn't need to say a word. That was my pitch.
I've actually thought a lot, I'll pivot and say that I have thought about trying out for a number of reality shows. Obviously not this one because this one just got announced, but I'll tell you right now, I know what my Survivor audition tape will be.
I feel like this is a recurring conversation on this show. We've said this so many times. You and I both want to be on Survivor or a Survivor-esque show.
I will be applying to Survivor before I die.
Any show where I get to leverage my innovation skills and my ingenuity is like, sign me up yesterday.
My James Bond audition video would be like, the beginning of every movie where they have like the gun barrel and then like the quick like turn and shoot. I would do that, but instead of having a gun in my hand, I would have like a piece of candy or something. Like something fun and quirky, That'd be my thing. I'd be the fun, quirky guy who everyone's like, oh, that guy's funny. He's kind of a fish out of water everywhere he goes. He's not really James Bond, but we love his spirit. That would be my goal. But no, I think I'm much better suited for Survivor. And by that, I mean, I think I'm much better suited to be voted off first or second on Survivor. If you had to apply, Nerdbomber, I'm going to throw the question back at you. If you did apply for one reality show to like go on it and be on it, and you have to, you can't say no.
She'd be the circle.
What show?
She'd be the circle.
No, not at all. I would do a home renovation.
Love is Blind.
No, I would do Flip or Flop.
That doesn't count. No, that doesn't count.
It's a reality show. And at the end, you get a big cash prize money in a really expensive house that's probably shoddily put together.
Let me rephrase. A reality competition show.
This is like a game. No, it has to be reality show. Give me some options. I don't have enough context. I don't watch enough of these.
I'm gonna Google reality competition show because I mean Survivor, Amazing Race, The Circle.
Nothing where I have to like eat weird stuff. That wouldn't work.
Fear Factor. Oh, no. I would destroy Fear Factor. I will demolish Bull Balls if I have to.
RuPaul Drag Race, Big Brother, Great British Bake Off, Project Runway.
I would do
a lot of cooking shows.
I would do the Great British Bake Off, and I would be that person who consistently creates sad-looking things because she can't bake.
You should be on Nailed It then.
Okay, nailed it. There we go.
What about F-Boy Island? Did I tell you guys about F-Boy Island? I'm sure I talked about it on this show.
That does not strike me as something that I would be good at.
They would probably make you act really dumb because they make all the women on that show act really dumb, and you have to you probably have to smooch some guys. I don't know if that's something you're interested in, but
not at the moment.
That's what F-Boy Island is. Okay. I'll check back in at some point. Yeah, I mean, for me, it'd be Survivor, obviously. Blown Away would also be a tough one, but I think you need more skills for that. You know about Blown Away? Have I told you guys about that show?
That's the glass blowing one, right?
That actually sounds really cool.
You know what would be
super cool to watch?
I have, and now we're really tangential, but this is fine. I have an idea. It just came to me for a really fun competition style show, kind of in the same vein as Ninja Warrior, but it would be a kite flying show. While you're running through some kind of like obstacle course, you have to keep your kite up.
That sounds transfixing.
What about an eating competition where it's like Spartan and like Roman style everything, and the show is just called Testicles, and you just have to eat all these different animal testicles?
Hard pass.
There's a show that's on Netflix right now I have not watched yet, but a friend told me to watch it. I believe it's literally called Is It Cake? Yeah, Is It Cake?
Oh, I've seen this. Yeah, I mean, we haven't watched it.
It's exactly what it sounds like. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just people trying to figure out if something's cake or not.
So you're basically, it's kind of like Cake Boss, where the first half of the show, you're watching them like bake the cake, and then they bring in people and they basically set up this display. So say you baked a cake that looked like a shoe. They have a display of 9 shoes, and then your cake is in there. And then the people on the panel have to try to figure out which of the 10 shoes is a cake.
That sounds so cool. I'm going to watch that. I'll report back on that. I watched a show at one point on Netflix. I just had to Google it. It's called Awake. And basically, they make people stay awake for 24 straight hours counting quarters and like counting money. And if they get the number wrong, like something bad happens if you get the number wrong. I don't remember which. Or like if you're closest, you get an advantage or something. And then after the 24 hours of counting quarters, they do like minute to win it challenges. And the winner gets $1 million or something like that. It's kind of psychotic. And when I describe it, I'm like, man, it's like sadistic is what it is the word I was looking for. There's a lot of great, and I guess that's more of a game show, but like, remember Minute to Win It? That was cool. I think they should bring that back. Guy Fieri and all. I don't even really like him that much.
I love him. He just follows his dreams.
He doesn't do anything. My problem with Guy Fieri is he doesn't do anything. Like, he's become
exactly.
famous.
It sounds like you're jealous. Is really what it sounds like.
But, well, a little bit, because he takes big juicy bites of something and just makes yummy noises.
Yeah, and makes
that's
a ton of money.
That's his.
He followed his dream, gets to eat like crap, gets to wear what he wants, and makes buckets of money. This is like life goals to me. You know what? Shout out to Guy Fieri, because you're doing it, man. Good for you.
Also, his hair is ridiculous. I love his sense of style is great, though. Shout out to his sense of style. Guy Fieri, not James Bond, but James Bond. There's a show coming soon. We'll give you more details when we get them. Let's talk about space. NASA is launching their first space tourism mission on April 3rd. April 3rd. That's less than a week from now, guys. $55 million per ticket. We can put that together, right?
So
yeah, I didn't think so.
Well, maybe. There's also the option if you can't afford to go into space, you can also get on the edge of space in a $50,000 space balloon. It's for the peons,
That's not bad.
if I may. But I want to talk about this because I both like this and don't like this at the same time. And the reason why I say this is because this is obviously one of those experiences that us normal people will just be able to just watch and envy and never be able to enjoy ourselves, and it's just going to be something for the rich to have that we never will, and it's somewhat depressing. But what it does do is it does promote the privatization of space flight and space exploration, and if you really want to continue to push the next frontier, to me, private funding is the path forward to getting there. So in that light, I do see it as a positive. But on the negative side, in addition to the envious thing that I'm going to be, we have a huge space debris problem right now. And I do wonder if all of these trips and all of this privatization and commercialization of space is going to put more and more junk up there, and we're going to end up trapping ourselves into Earth because there's so much crap in our outer atmosphere that we're just not going to be able to leave.
Yeah, I mean, you to get up there, you got to leave something behind, right? And that's like, it usually just winds up in like low Earth orbit or something.
Or in the ocean,
right.
I know that, and I know that there were space rockets that have SpaceX developed the inverted pendulum return booster, but that's not the easiest feat, and it's not always guaranteed. And it's just easier to throw stuff in the ocean. And when things are easy, what do people tend to do?
Probably the easy thing. I think this is like an in-between kind of thing for me. I see the merit in it. Definitely. Like you were saying, like privatization of space, like I don't think we're getting to space in our lifetimes. Like I don't think that any of the three of us will see space. I'm not sure I want to see space also, for what it's worth.
Well, for $50K maybe. But instead of, you can either put a down payment on a house, or you can go to the outer edge of space.
I feel like,
I guess,
what are the physical qualifications? Yeah. Like, what do you have to go through? What kind of training? Like, it can't just be any old millionaire hops into a space vessel. Like, there's G's and stuff that make you sick, correct?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, the vomit comet, it's called the vomit comet for a reason. I know that there'd be a number of things that would disqualify me personally.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, like fighter pilots need to have good vision, right? And I think astronauts need to as well, but like the passengers probably don't.
I think we also think of, the rigorous training that we saw way back in the day, moving in towards the advancements of technology and things like that, and even the suits, right? They're called G trousers for a reason. They squeeze your legs to resist G's, and the better our technology gets at resisting G's, the less physically fit you need to be. And so
I like that you thought I knew about G trousers, because this is literally the first time I've heard the phrase.
Oh yeah, look it up, G trousers.
It's pretty funny too. It's funny.
Yeah, they keep the blood from rushing down into your legs. It keeps it in your upper body. But anyway, with further advancements of tools such as that, it becomes easier and easier. And really the training just comes to, how to handle your breathing and how to monitor yourself. And yes, you have to be fit to some extent, but I'm going to be honest, it's old rich guys.
Right. Well, and so it is like, it's a step better. Like, don't get me wrong, it's still a little dystopian of like, oh, look, we're all struggling down here. Rich people are going to space. Like, there's no doubt about it. It's better than Bezos going, though. Like, Bezos going was kind of like a slap in the face kind of thing. Super dystopian. At one point, I think I mentioned on the podcast, or if I didn't, I meant to. At one point, it was like rumored or mentioned that like Pete Davidson was going. And like, actually, I thought that was kind of funny, but like still not that funny. If it's just like a bunch of random rich guys, I don't know. I guess I can live with it. Rich guy's gonna rich, right? But it still makes me a little sad.
The lottery should start doing is, hey, you can scratch off, you can win $1 million, but hey, why not throw space in there? They have money to burn. Why not? Let us little guys get an opportunity. I bet they'll see a boost in sales. And if you guys do this, just remember to throw a check my way, because I gave you the idea. I'm fairly certain if you got the chance to go to space, you would take it, right?
I would not. There, I said it.
Yeah. I knew you wouldn't. I'm talking to Techtic. Me and you are the sane people here.
Let me ask you a question. If you did want to go to space, would you run it by your fiance first, or would you just go?
No. I would leave like a Post-it note on the fridge. Be like,
went to space, be back later.
Back in 5. Yeah. And she'd be like, oh, is this a hypothetical, or is this something you're thinking about doing?
I'm out of Post-it notes.
Okay. That's a bummer. Well, I'll see you up there. And by that, I mean, I'll watch it on television or something. The space balloon sounds more, I will say, I know it's cheaper, 50 grand a ticket. It's probably cheaper because it sounds way scarier. A balloon up that high?
Yeah, I was going to say, that freaks me out more than just getting in a rocket.
Rocket's got some solid thing. I mean, I'm sure it's not just like a big hot air balloon, but like the ISS has been orbiting for 23 years. NASA is planning to retire the outpost in 2030 to potentially be succeeded by a commercial space station. So are we setting up for that? Maybe. I just answered my own question. Also, let's take a brief pause and take a look at so there's a tweet from Axiom Space, I believe the company that's in charge of this, or the Axiom mission or whatever. And it's showing the 4 guys, the crew. Do you see these shoes that they're wearing? Can we talk about that for a second? Why are they all wearing lifts in their shoes? This may be a technical question that like maybe Techtic can even answer.
Because they have to look tall?
Yeah, are they legitimately trying to look taller?
So the term for that is little man syndrome.
Right. Look at these shoes. They're like platform shoes. They're like blue tips too. I don't know what that's about. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're compensating for something. Who's to say? Shout out to old rich white astronauts. Here's to you. So yeah, we'll check back in with them next week. I think by the time we record this, they will be airborne or space. What do you say? Spaceborne? That sounds weird. You get the idea. They'll be in space. In the meantime, we are going to talk a little bit about Microsoft's new cloud gaming publishing division. But before we do that, we're going to take a brief pause to both take our ad break, potentially an adless ad break, and talk about our fantastic Patreon channel that we have, and also our fantastic Patreon producer, shout him out, Mr. Stephen Keller. Stephen, the pleasure has always been ours, having you on the show, chatting with you on the weekly, giving you this shout out. It's always a pleasure. I would be remiss if I did not give the shout out, invite you to join us at our square table. Stephen is our Patreon producer, one of them, and he gets, as a result, this shout out on each episode. He also gets, of course, input into the weekly game segment, which will be coming later, hosted by Techtic. And of course, he gets access to the monthly secret segment and vlog over on our Patreon. I mentioned before I did my vlog about the Oscars. You're going to want to check that out. And we have a secret segment that's going to be dropping soon as well. So you can head over there, check that out. We also have a Squire level of support, not quite as high as Steven at the night level. That gets you access to that monthly secret segment and vlog. And there's also a page level, which gets you access to the monthly secret segment. So the details on all of those levels, anyone you'd want to support us at, can be found over at patreon.com/onlinewarriorspodcast. Thanks again to Stephen for helping us to keep the microphones running here. And yeah, we'll take a short break now and come back to talk about Microsoft in a little bit.
Hey, welcome to the Last Comic Shop Podcast,
a comic book podcast that actually talks about comics.
Yep, each week we open the shop up and read and discuss a comic.
Sometimes we pair that up with comic book movies or TV shows.
Or not. Lots of times it's just comic books and sound effects.
Oh, yes, definitely lots of sound effects.
So tune in on all the major podcasting platforms for the Last Comic Shop Podcast. Or check out our library of evergreen shows at www.lastcomicshoppodcast.com.
Okay. Big news in Microsoft's house. Kim Swift, who you may know from her Portal days, has announced a cloud gaming division within the Xbox Game Studios publishing. So a presentation aired at the Game Developers Conference with Swift introducing the publishing group as a whole and introducing a new cloud mandate for the group that she will be spearheading. Connected to Xbox's cloud gaming initiative, I feel like this has been going on. Like we were talking about this like back with the Xbox One, isn't that when this started with like Crackdown? I remember they were talking about Crackdown specifically as like a showcase for the cloud gaming of the destructible environments and stuff. You know, my touch point with this, is it fair to say that like, I guess Stadia wasn't really cloud gaming, but like, I guess my point is I'm still not sure I believe in this. Like, I think there's a middle ground, you know, what Xbox is doing with Game Pass, certainly not cloud gaming, but like,
but
cloud
they do.
systems,
I mean, they do have cloud gaming with the iPhone. Like, I don't know if it's even iPhone, but they do like on mobile and stuff. You can do cloud gaming, even actually on the consoles.
Yeah, but the caliber of game in mobile gaming is
right.
Not as demanding. I mean, I get the technology of cloud gaming. I think we will move there eventually. I just don't think we're there yet from a technology readiness standpoint.
I find it hard to believe that we'd move away from consoles altogether because I think gamers are kind of snobs. like, I don't know, I have a nice 4K TV and I want to take full advantage of it. And I don't think you'd ever sell me a box where I'm paying into a subscription but not getting the full 4K quality because I'm streaming something, you know?
I think cloud gaming is going to be such that you don't realize it's cloud gaming. I think all of a sudden these massive consoles that we have today are going to become smaller and smaller, and you're just not going to think about why. And the reason why is good because it's not doing any of the power. For me, it's about relinquishing control over the experience, right? Like Nerdbomber, you're mentioning you have this really nice TV. You want to have this experience that's full. Like when you introduce a cloud into the mix, there's an element of your gaming experience that if the cloud goes down or if the cloud has problems, guess what? You're SOL, right? And that's like, to me, I just that's why I don't play online games a lot. I just want to have a game console hooked up to a TV. I can play single player games and like kind of furnish for myself this immersive experience that doesn't have any outside influence besides like power outages, I guess, like trying to influence that. So, you know, I know cloud technology has come a long way, but I agree. I think it's well suited for like mobile games and things where you don't care about like latency or all this stuff. Like I'm not going to want to play like Last of Us via the cloud. I just like I don't know. And that's a bad example because usually with things like latency you care about for online gaming, but I want it to be in my house. I want to have full control over it. And also there's like an element of like, I don't know if pride of ownership comes into play necessarily, but like I just want to have full control over the experience. Yeah, that's where I struggle big time with regards to any kind of cloud gaming is I do not ever get even digital copies. I love getting the hard copy of the disc. I will forever buy the hard copy of the disc. That is just ingrained into my soul.
Well, I mean, I love the disc version of stuff. When you get it on sale, that's very nice. And digital doesn't have as many sales. But I mean, stuff like Game Pass, like I am very picky now about what I'm buying physically. I'm pickier. Like I will only buy the physical edition of games that are like touchstone games that I've been waiting for a really long time, like Horizon. That was something that I bought physically, but like a smaller indie game that is something I just want to play for a few hours and might not rock my world, I'm definitely just going digital with that.
Yeah, no, I think pride of ownership is a big deal. And again, I don't know, you know, to what extent like cloud gaming, the idea of cloud gaming factors into that for me, but it feels at least tangentially related to that. Now, Kim Swift, as I mentioned before, lead designer on Portal. She also worked closely with Left 4 Dead. She's had roles at Amazon and EA. Most recently, I mentioned Stadia before. She was actually the game design director there. So I don't know what that says about her coming here, trying to do essentially the same thing. Again, I would argue it hasn't really worked at Stadia. I don't know if Stadia is really doing that well. I honestly have no idea. But, you know, trying to introduce cloud-based AI, working hand in hand with Microsoft's new ID at Azure initiative, using the cloud system to not only open up gameplay to more people, but game development to more people, which that certainly is a good idea. If it allows game developers to have an easier time developing games, I think that benefits both ends of the pipe, you know. But I just don't know. I guess I'll leave it at I have my doubts about it being kind of a viable thing for us to be doing everything via the cloud. I don't know.
But you know what? You know, we said that about movies and music too.
We did. I just think is there an element of privacy to be concerned about here? Probably not. But
I mean, what are they going to see?
People want their how
many hours?
I don't know, but things go
porno game.
Whenever you think about things going up into the cloud, my first thought is how many times has stuff been leaked from the cloud that people don't want leaked from the cloud? You know, the cloud, rain.
There's no different than with your current systems, your credit card getting lost if it's linked to your Xbox account.
All right, well, now you're making me uncomfortable. So let's not talk about privacy anymore, I guess. Yeah, I think if anyone can pull this off, it's the lead designer on Portal. Although I don't really know how that connects with cloud gaming again. But she's clearly a smart lady. It's not
like she's the expert in cloud gaming. She's looking to assemble a Avengers of sorts as far as pushing forward this innovative technology. So she doesn't need to be the expert, but she just needs to know how to pick a good team.
Well, and you know, more broadly, talking about Xbox Game Studios, you know, and actually it's called Xbox Game Studios Publishing, which I feel like there's an extra word in there or something. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see if they can get establish a foothold in the same way that, you know, PlayStation opened up their own studio and they're doing great. I think I don't think that's a stretch to say that. It'll be interesting to see if with games like Contraband, if they can establish a similar foothold. We'll have to wait and see, I guess. So yeah, cloud gaming. What do you think of it? At OW of Illeagle 86, at OW Techtic, at OW Nerdbomber, our main show account. at Online Warriors 1. Let us know. That brings us to What Are You Up To Wednesday. We're going to talk about what we've been up to. I'm going to go first. I feel like it's my turn. I only really have one substantive update. I'm currently going through a move, so that's one thing. It's not fun, but that's like taking up a lot of my time. But one thing I did have time for in my free time to enjoy that I want to pass along to all of you
more Mass
is
Effect?
the movie CODA.
Oh.
No, unfortunately. But I watched the movie CODA, which at the time of this recording, at the time of the release of this episode, you will know that it won Best Picture and also, I think, Best Supporting Actor and Best Adapted Screenplay. And if you're not an award snob, that's fine. I'm not I try not to put too much weight on what the Academy says, if only because I think a lot of things are popularity contests, but that's besides the point. This was a very good movie. So CODA, for those that don't know, stands for Children of Deaf Adults, or Child of Deaf Adults, I guess. And a CODA is also a part of a song if you were in band in high school like I was. So kind of a cool double meaning in the title. And this is a movie about, a child of deaf adults who wants to be a musician. So again, great title. And just kind of the challenges associated with that, the challenges of being the only hearing person in an all-deaf family. And they're trying to run a business. And there's a lot of twists and turns emotionally and plot-wise there. Very well acted, very well written. It was a different take. I liked A Quiet Place a lot. I did not watch A Quiet Place 2, but I liked the first one a lot. But that was kind of a gimmicky approach, right, to a movie that takes place largely silently. This was a much more emotionally driven, a much more character driven approach to that really put, I'll call it an art form, the art form of ASL kind of center stage. Marlee Matlin was fantastic. She's been in shows like The West Wing that I really, really like. You probably know who Marlee Matlin is, but you don't know her name. That's my guess. That's about like a lot of people's exposure to her. Lead was Amelia Jones. She was fantastic. Amazing voice. There's a lot of great music in the movie. Some great performances in the musical sense. And just all in all, a great movie. This is on Apple TV Plus. If you have that service, I would really recommend going to give it a watch. It is definitely worth your time, and I believe it's well deserving of the win. So that's kind of my one recommendation / review on the week. Other than that, moving, kind of doing some demoing around the house, breaking full length wall adhered mirrors. It's about as dangerous as it sounds. Yeah, my dad got a cut on his finger. He's fine.
That's actually pretty impressive that that's the only place he managed to get cut.
There were a couple of these big plate glass mirror things that we actually got off the wall in one piece when we figured out how to do it. And I'm immensely impressed with myself and the people that helped me. So I just want to kind of toot our horns there a little bit. But yeah, going through the move process, I'm sure when we're actually all moved in, I'll make a vlog or some kind of, here, this is our house, and here's where I'm going to record the podcast. So be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, lots of work.
I have to ask you a question though. You're taking these big mirror panels down. We're all about safety here on the Online Warriors podcast. What was the PPE situation like, especially after the first one shattered?
Safety glasses, gloves was pretty much it.
Were the arms covered?
Yeah.
Full sleeves?
Arms were covered. Yeah, full sleeves. I was wearing winter boots because they had kind of hard toes. So yeah, we were precautious after the first one completely shattered when we took it down because we didn't really know what we were doing. We watched some YouTube videos. If you're a first time homeowner, oh my gosh, YouTube. They have, if you want to know how to do literally anything, there's probably 500 videos of it on YouTube. It's an amazing resource. Also great for cat videos, but also good for homeowner stuff. It's awesome. So
what are you doing with these mirrors though? Are you going to take them out back and batter them with a hammer and have a fun slow motion TikTok sort of thing going on?
Well, I'm open to suggestion. We're mostly concerned right now with how we're going to get rid of them. Because we don't know if the garbage people will take them.
Yeah.
The garbage people, but I don't know. That's a weird way to put it. But we want to find some big dumpster to take them to or something. We might have some fun with it first, an office space situation where we're in my backyard hitting it with hammers. We'll see. Might be doing some painting next weekend. Probably less chance of bodily injury there, but I'll keep you all
you
updated.
never know. You never know.
Yeah, those rollers can be sharp sometimes.
And you have to get up, assuming you're going ceiling to floor, getting up on a stepladder, always a little bit of danger.
Not for the faint of heart. We'll see. I'll report back. But yeah, for me, in the meantime, that's pretty much all I have to offer this week. Nerdbomber, what's been going on in your life?
So I have picked up a nasty cold for the first time in a couple years, and that has kicked my butt just a little bit. But we watched a movie over the weekend that was actually better than I expected it to be. We watched Fresh on Hulu, and this is the new movie with Sebastian Stan and
Daisy Edgar Jones.
Yes, thank you. And Daisy Edgar Jones, who, if you don't know who she is, she was from Normal People. I think that was actually her breakout role. Another Hulu original, a pretty good show based off a really good book. I would definitely recommend you see that. But basically, it's a horror thriller, and it kind of starts out as a rom-com. And Daisy Edgar Jones's character, Noah, is struggling with dating. You know, she's on apps meeting douchebags who are not great people and really struggling to find a love connection when she runs into Sebastian Stan's character in a grocery store. And, you know, he comes up to her with a pickup line. They hit it off. And, you know, the first part of the movie is they have a nice little romance going on. And without giving any spoilers, it quickly devolves in the back half to a story about cannibalism, which is given in the trailer, so that's not a spoiler. It was very well cast. I will say Sebastian Stan was very, very perfect for the role.
He's got hardcore, like, Silence of the Lambs charming vibes. Not Silence, maybe like Ted Bundy charming. Like, you know it's creepy, but it's like weirdly charming. And he just nailed it.
And overall, like, it was creepy. Like, it wasn't the best movie that I've watched for someone who doesn't like horror movies. Like, it aired more heavily on the thriller side than the horror side. Like, there were no like jump scares. It was a little bit more, I guess, psychological. And there was some gore, like in the terms of like cannibalism. And they showed like prepared dishes made of human meat. And it was obviously just like meatballs and like real animal meat and props, but it was done very well to the point where like I got kind of squeamish a couple times.
Hungry. Not in like a human flesh kind of way, just like the food looked good.
In like a meatball way?
Yeah, in like a meatball way.
So like I don't want to give any more detail really around it because I feel like going in just knowing what happened in the trailer, the movie ended up kind of panning out a little bit differently than I expected just from watching the trailer. But I thought it was pretty good. And I'm usually not one for that genre, but maybe it's just because I like the actors. I don't know, but I thought it was pretty good.
Right on. Yeah, Sebastian Stan, you know, he's pretty good. Like, obviously, my main touch point with him is Winter Soldier. I can certainly see him as a result of even just that role kind of pulling off like charming, semi-charming, but also like kind of scary man.
I honestly think his role as Winter Soldier doesn't do him as an actor justice.
I definitely think, especially with Pam and Tommy, is that, or is it the other way around?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they...
Yeah, I think it's Pam and Tommy.
Okay. I think he's a more versatile actor than maybe the Winter Soldier kind of gave him credit for. Because I think, you know, you think of him in that role and you just think Bucky Barnes, in my opinion, and I know they go and develop the character a little bit further in the Disney Plus show. But at the end of the day, Bucky Barnes still kind of feels like a one-note sort of character, you know? Maybe that's just me.
Love my best friend.
Yeah. But I think Sebastian Stan as an actor has a lot more to bring to the table. And I think he was definitely able to flex his acting chops in Fresh. That said, if you get like squeamish thinking about cannibalism, probably not the movie for you. But.
Yeah, I wouldn't watch it with like a charcuterie board or something like that. That's my advice.
No, I wouldn't think so. That sounds cool though.
Yeah, it's on Hulu. It's a Hulu original. So if you have Hulu, definitely worth an evening's romp, I guess. That's all I got.
Cool. Techtic, take us away.
So behind the scenes, I like to consider myself as the most interesting member of the Online Warriors podcast. And the reason why I say that is because one of the things that I am involved in, and I've tweeted about it, is a fantasy sumo league. How many people do you know in a fantasy sumo league?
I forgot you did this.
Oh, yeah. And
is it so it's back? It's back? It's going on again?
It's back. And it didn't really go away. I just didn't participate for the last couple of tournaments. But to really jazz it up, I decided to 3D print myself, or not myself, but the winner, a trophy.
But he knows he's going to win.
No, actually, I got in second place. And like the gap between the first two people and everyone else was insane this tournament. Like I was up on everyone by like 20 points, and the person who beat me by 2 points. So.
See, I want to say like you're probably the only person on earth who does fantasy sumo wrestling, but then again, there's people doing it with you, so that's immediately wrong. It's fascinating. To me. So you're saying it's already over?
Yeah, the tournament just ended. I got second place, so there's no trophy yet for second. I'm still making the one. It's a cool sumo riding a bull that I found on Thingiverse, and then I made a little base in my own solid modeling software that says Sumo Champion. So I'm priming it now. I'm going to spray paint it gold. I'll post it on the social medias when it's done. But it's looking good thus far. I'm very happy with it. I was excited that I didn't really need to do that much from scratch modeling because Thingiverse is a great website that offers many awesome. If you could think it, guys, it's on there. If you wanted to 3D print something, just go there. It's just a good, fun thing to browse in general.
I don't even have a 3D printer, but sometimes I go on there and just poke around.
Yeah, it's amazing.
There's some crazy stuff on there.
So check that out. The other thing, and this is probably the bigger announcement, is that, guys, I bought Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and it came, and we played the sugar honey iced tea out of it.
Yeah, it's probably our longest gaming session in a long time. I mean, both individually and together. Like, I can't remember the last time we strung together like a solid almost 6-hour play session straight through. And I want to say we did that this weekend.
And it was effortless. That's one of the things about this game. So
it's the mark. Yeah, it's the mark of a good game.
If you've played the other Borderlands, you pick a character, you pick a class, and you go forward. And I thought it was kind of going to be the same thing, but no. It's full character customization, and you get to pick a class on top of that. And
there's more classes.
Yeah, there's a ton of classes, and they weaseled that into the game where it's seamless, the way they did it, and the combat is fun. The only thing I don't like, and if you haven't started playing it yet, I recommend not doing the everyone gets loot option. It just becomes too much loot, and it's almost overwhelming. So do the strategize loot option with your friends and share loot, trade loot. It just, to me, it makes it more fun. Don't do the option that I did. But it's a great game. There's a lot of new features in it, like in the overworld mode. It literally looks like a board game, and I can't rave enough about this game. Go buy it.
Yeah, they've kind of taken that open world formula of a Borderlands game, and it's still kind of there. But because there's this overworld, which is essentially this big game board, and you have your little character as if you had like a minifig if you were playing in real life, like a Dungeons and Dragons style game, you're kind of like, not gatekept, but they kind of progress you through different parts of the main story. It's a little bit more linear bound than I would say the other Borderlands are, because I feel like in Borderlands 1, 2, 3, the pre-sequel, you're kind of on a big map and you can go wherever. You can kind of skip into sections where you aren't really supposed to be yet. But for the most part so far, I feel like it's a little bit more linear than the previous games, but you have so many different encounters and random things that pop up as if you were playing like a Dungeons and Dragons style game, that it keeps it fresh, even though it is a little bit more linear.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, I mean...
Also, there's multiple class options with little buddies. So I was the mushroom class. I have a little mushroom friend, and...
I'm a clawbringer with a dragon.
Yeah, but I have a mushroom friend. He's got butt cheeks, so...
Sounds pretty fantastical overall.
It is.
Especially the butt cheeks.
It's got the whimsy and humor of Borderlands.
Whimsical.
But it's in a more fantastical setting.
Fantastical.
And so it feels different enough from Borderlands where it feels like its own thing, but it's got the core underlying game design of Borderlands, which is fun.
Fun.
I would say like irreverence is another word I would use for kind of like what Borderlands is a lot of the time. So glad to hear they've retained that while also managing to be functionally different. So
and split
cool.
screen.
Keep us updated. Yeah, that's also a big deal. Shout out to all game devs everywhere who make split screen games. And anti-shout out to game devs who don't. You're ruining couch co-op. We need to bring couch co-op back. Cool. I think you have a quiz for us. Is that so?
I do. And the topic
Quiz me, sir.
is Deadpool Trivia.
Boy, it's a good thing you're not doing this. Although I assume that's kind of the idea.
So it's Price is Right style. We're going to roll right into it. It's actually heavily invested in the comic book side of it and not the movie side of it. So prepare yourselves.
Wait, hang on. I want to give a quick update. I'm 4-4, Techtic 4-4, Nerdbomber 3-4. Steven, want to know? So, yeah, lots on the line here. I feel the pressure. I feel the burn. So, let's get into it.
So, my first question is: when did Deadpool make his first appearance in the comic books?
Okay, and I assume I'm going first because I have the better record. Oh boy, he strikes me as I'm thinking 1980s, very 80s character. I'm gonna go with 1986. Final answer, Bob.
I feel like I remember the art style of Deadpool being a little bit more old-timey, but I don't know. I'm going to say 1960.
So the first thing to think about is Wolverine had to have been established, right? Because he's a derivative of Wolverine. So this was a later edition.
How late was Wolverine?
Deadpool made his first appearance in the New Mutants comics in 1991.
Whew, I was close. All right.
They were introduced that late. I don't know why. I've always just assumed Wolverine has been around for a long time. Maybe just because it's like they shoved him in our face.
No, the 1960s was different age of comic books. You were not having Deadpool.
60s was still, Deadpool was like breaking the fourth wall, doing all this stuff. They weren't doing that in the 60s. They were staying traditional. Cool. Right on.
All right.
I'm in there, baby.
So now we're going to go into a movie question. And the question is, how much did the first Deadpool movie gross in the U.S. box office?
Didn't it break records? But I don't know what record it would have broken. I'm going to say 50 million. That feels a bit
it's
high.
significantly more than that. Significantly more than that. It broke records for like the highest grossing R-rated movie, but I'm sure it did over 50 million like on its opening weekend. I'm going to conservatively say 100 million, but it's probably closer to $1 billion.
This film achieved both financial and critical success. It earned over $782 million against a $58 million budget.
You know what's wild? We spent so much time doing Fantasy Movie League. You would have thought that...
And you were good at it.
Yeah, I was good at it.
You were better at it than I was.
You would think that stuff would have stuck in my head, but no.
So you are in a tough spot, Nerdbomber, right now. You have to get everyone right to win.
Okay. Or I can tie.
And he hasn't used a +1.
But neither have I.
That's true. Also true.
What is the oldest Deadpool has ever been in the comic books?
Super freaking old. Oh my gosh, so old. Oldest he's ever been. There's comic books are like time traveling and stuff. They probably want to head to like the year 3000 and Deadpool was still alive. I'm saying 1,000 years old.
This feels like a trick. I feel like that's what he wants us to think. There's 3 questions left, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So I'm going to do my other option and say 1.
So Illeagle takes it home.
Gosh darn it.
That's right.
He was exactly 1,000 years old.
So my +1 wouldn't have even mattered.
Yeah, you were...
Boy, I got you good.
You were up the creek snookered. With no paddle. But we're going to finish out the other 2 just for funsies. So the next question is, everyone's familiar with Deadpool's healing factor. How much can he lift?
In what unit of measurement?
Pounds.
2,000 pounds.
2,001 pounds.
Come on.
So one of his abilities is actually super strength, and he can lift up to 50,000 pounds.
I'll take the point. I'm going for the perfect score here.
So we're trending onto a sweep right
on the
now.
Nose.
And this last question is, we all know and love Deadpool and Spider-Man to be sort of best friends. When did they first meet?
Okay, I got to get this right on the nose. It's easy. This is 1999. This is the millennium, right before it, right before Y2K. They were trying to stop Y2K.
2000.
So the question is, was it a clean sweep? And the answer is, it was not. Nerdbomber saves herself.
Oof.
It wasn't until 2006, Cable and Deadpool issue 24, that Spider-Man and Deadpool had their first official meeting. So that is our quiz. Illeagle wins this one, but it was not a clean sweep. So you fought hard, Nerdbomber, and we commend you.
Do you think that any of the comic book heroes tried to fight Y2K? I want to say yes. That's why I'm asking. I want it to be true. Probably not, though. We'll look into it. We'll have our research department take a look. I moved to 5-4. Techtic at 4-4. Nerdbomber 3-5. Next week, she will be taking on Techtic for the title of Ultimate Loser.
And I did want to also give a shout out to Apple Pie. We are now in possession of an apple pie, so look out shortly for a video of me eating apple pie and American cheese.
Oh, you're doing that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. I forgot that was the punishment. Yeah, send me the link to that. I'm sure I'll see it. It'll pop up on social media. I'll watch it. I'll laugh. Or maybe I'll like it. Like that's the danger here, is that you're going to really like it, and then I'm going to feel like an idiot.
Yeah, if he ends up liking it, then that's going to be a crappy punishment. But hey.
I'll bet you that I can do stuff to it, keeping the ingredients the same.
No, you can't do stuff to it. You
to
have
make it good.
That's not allowed.
No,
man.
it has to be plain old apple pie with a slice of American cheese.
But can it be melty cheese?
I'm not even letting you have whipped cream.
Can it be a hot apple pie with melty cheese? Why can't it be an apple pie straight out the oven? Like who has cold apple pie? You have like every single cartoon trope has a pie on the window and it's smoking.
It has to be.
The scenario here is
cool.
you go to a diner. Yeah, the scenario here is like you go to a diner and it's like in that rotating glass case and you're like, I'll have one of those. And they're like, here you go. And you're like, can I have a slice of cheese with it?
No normal person is going to eat cold pie. Like, I'm not going to sit there and wait for the pie to get room temperature. The pie's going to be hot. I won't melt the cheese. I won't toast it, but I'll just throw it on.
Don't melt the cheese. Okay, that's fine. I'll accept that. Terms have been laid out.
I know American cheese just takes on a whole new profile when it's hot. It's gross cold.
Well, you're about to experience that. Oh no, Nerdbomber, you gave me your cough.
Uh-oh.
In that case, I better get out of here. Thank you all for listening. Go on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Hit us up there. Hit us up on Patreon, we mentioned before. Hit us up on our Twitter handles, mentioned those as well. And in general, just keep on keeping on. Slide into the month of April. Go prank your friends, but don't do anything dangerous. And with that in mind, I'll turn it over to Techtic for his weekly tech tip.
Check us out on Patreon to watch me eat apple pie and cheese. And it'll be one of the best tips you've ever gotten.
Don't be slapping people. I'll throw that in too.
Yeah, for real. Don't be doing that. Bye.